All right, we are live. What's going on, fellow traders? Let me get this tweeted out here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Wow. What a weekend. Happy Easter, everybody. Hope everybody had a blessed weekend. Had a great trading day on Thursday. We gave some Easter egg basket gifts this weekend. We put a pretty cool free video out there. And we also made this set of flashcards with candlesticks, so you can start to kind of memorize some patterns. So definitely check that out. Posted that on Twitter, and there's a recent video in the YouTube channel there too, where we I think I actually made it the pinned YouTube video for. For now. So have fun with that. It's just especially if you're new to trading, and even if you're experienced on some of it's fun to just quiz yourself and make sure you can recognize what's going on out there. So, wow. So here we are. Let me just double check here, make sure everything is coming through smoothly. Here, there. Oh, what's going on? Hey, Raphael. Okay, good. Just making sure everybody's getting tuned in. So good. So forgive me if my internet's a little bit laggy today. I'm not sure what's going on, but a little bit slow there. But anyway, so yeah, wow, look at this. Well, futures have really, they started off to a slow start, and they seem to be getting a little weak coming into the session on Monday. So this week is definitely going to be a little more interesting, I think, than the last couple weeks. So if we just let's just take a look at the monthly chart, see where we're at in terms of the month. We're almost done with April. Looks like we might have a belt hold bar month, but we'll see. A little Yorikiri bar there, but last month was a hammer, and we've taken that to the upside right here, taking a shot at the all-time highs, but we'll see if we can get there just yet. So the weekly is really the interesting chart these days. So we were tracking back here this shooting star pattern. That was a pretty big opportunity to go to the downside, but it has that it has that weekly cloud resistance. And the cloud, of course, is this yellow stuff right here, right? That's the Ichimoku cloud. We've done some videos on that in the past. But anyway, so there we are, right? Then we followed up with that hammer that defended the cloud support line, and then we gapped up, right? We gapped up, and we had almost a full Marubozu week there. If I'm really sorry, guys. Hold on, there we go. Things are just a little slow here on my Thinkorswim, not letting me drag. Okay, there we go. So we had this Marubozu bar here, which is this full green bar, and then it's very bullish, right? And then we got a continuation hammer here, and then things have kind of slowed down a little bit last week. So we had a lot of very less than 15-point ranges last 10 days, almost 2 weeks, and then we finished this week here with this doji red spinning top right here at the upper Keltner channel. So we'll see. It could mean a bit of reversal. Hopefully not overnight. Hopefully we don't gap down overnight, because I definitely want to trade that potential gap fill here, which is very rare on the weekly chart, to the downside. So that is a possibility. So I'm kind of entering this week with some caution going forward. But we have we finished the day on Thursday with because it was a short week last week, with a northern doji here, almost a dragonfly doji, but northern doji here, green. So kind of trying to make a hammer here to hold on to the 10 MA and the 5 MA on the daily, and maybe to try to push a little bit to the upside. But we'll see. We'll see where we open tomorrow. So and then the big thing happening this week is earnings. We have some major players releasing today. Of course, we have Boeing, right? Boeing. Let me just kind of give you a look at what Boeing is looking like right now. So everybody remembers, of course, tragedies, that happened, the big gap down. Of course, let me go back a little bit. So that was the big gap down back here. That was a bearish engulfing week, by the way. So that's one of those flashcards that is good to know, right? This has a higher probability to go down than a bullish engulfing. So the bearish engulfing week. So that's definitely one. You don't want to swing long. If anything, you might want to, if you're going to test them, maybe some puts, to the short side, so to get your, get a big play there. But that's kind of where we're at. We've been chopping around since then. That's made a few strides to get to the upside, but every time it does, it comes back down because of the just struggling with the news. There was some bad news over this weekend, so we'll see. I think we finished with an inside day. Let me just double check. Yes, inside day on Boeing. But look where we're at in the cloud. So We have earnings coming up this week. That's one of the big earnings. We also have Caterpillar. We have Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft. I think Chipotle is this week. So some big earnings that should really shake up the market a little bit and give us some tradable opportunities. But here it looks, to me, we're getting really close. If we break to the downside here, it could get pretty nasty. And if they can't defend themselves well in the earnings call, then it could get really bad, right? So we've got a few different levels that we're looking at on the downside as a potential. Of course, if it gets constructive, earnings are good, it could work its way towards the top of the cloud. And if it's really good and everything is resolved with their issues that they're having right now, then we could see a break of the cloud, and this could actually be a good swing long to fill the gap. So we'll see how it behaves this week and kind of go from there. Other than that, that's pretty much the state of the market right now. So at this point, let me just check in. Okay, good. At this point, let me just go over today's technical topics. We're going to continue talking about trading price action, right? And I think eventually we're going to start talking a little bit more about this. Talking in our reviews. So anytime you can go back, I just created a playlist on YouTube, so you can kind of go back through all the videos. But this is really key for trading intraday, and especially if you're a newsletter subscriber and have access to the private Twitter feed, right? When I put out SPX ideas, right? I'm basing that were trades that I take, educational trades that I take. I'm basing this on a lot of this on the price action and part of the price action around levels, and I talk about it a lot. So today I kind of want to just get into it a little bit more. We've done a video in the past on the floor pivot levels, so that's key, right? I'm not going to go into the formulas again today. Let me just make sure I have today's or Thursday's levels pulled up from the 18th. So there's different pivot levels, right? And they're based on the high, low, and close of your weekly, your monthly, and your daily chart, right? So every week we update this in the private Twitter, and every day we update it too with the daily pivots. But these were the pivots on Friday. I'm sorry, on Thursday. So we had our daily pivot level, which was this 2904.64, and it's also helpful. And so I just want, when we're talking levels, guys, and you're doing this, so. You put these levels in, and these are great. These are great for trading, especially for the big ticker items where floor traders are trading it, especially the SPX and the indexes, right? Because these are key levels, right? That and you'll see as we'll just kind of go through this chart and talk about the levels as we get to them, and then when we do these reviews every night, you'll start to see it a little bit more, right? So we talked a lot about a price action around what we need to do is start looking at. As traders, and as option traders, we want to look at price action around these levels, right? There's all sorts of techniques you can trade with price action when you're trading, just strictly shares, or if you're just trading contracts with futures. But with options, you have to be a little bit more selective, right? Because the way they move, you need to get really good movement, really good momentum in the stock in one direction or another, or in the index. So in this case, we have this daily pivot level. So these yellow lines here, I have these as the daily levels. The blue lines are the weekly, okay, and the green are the monthly, okay. The purple ones I want to add, and these are good ones to have to your repertoire. Okay, I wasn't including these recently, but I just added them because they are important. You'll see that shortly. Is that we want to identify, and it's when you have multiple monitors, it's great when you're looking at your daily chart and your monthly chart and your weekly chart, and that's all fine. But when you're really trading, you just want to look at the price action, and these levels really help to determine what those key levels are in the past, instead of looking at different screens or different monitors. This way, if you have them all here, you can just focus on one chart. So if you like trading the 5-minute time frame or the 15-minute time frame, those levels are there at your disposal, and you can use those to determine whether or not the price action warrants an entry or not. So I have those up here, and this is Thursday. Now Thursday was a pretty choppy day, right? So I mean the range really wasn't huge, but it was okay. I mean it was let's go. Let's just double check. Sorry guys, let me just confirm. Yeah, I mean it was okay. These were a lot choppier days, but 16-point day, so it was a little bit more than it has been recently. So that's a good start. But anyway, let's take a look. So when we opened up, right, this was key, right? This level, this daily pivot level is key. We've talked about it before. If you gap above this and it really starts moving, and even if it breaks through another level, those are great opportunities to look at those gap and go type situations, right? And so on Thursday, what happened is we opened above it, right? So initially it's bullish, right? Then it pushed down, right? And then it tagged the cloud on the 5-minute chart. And these clouds are important on every time frame, but on the 5 minutes, so tagged that, look at that, to the tick, and then bounced, right? And then formed a northern doji, so a green bar right here. And now this next bar was key. The next bar was forming, and this is why we wait for bars to close. This next bar was forming a green hammer, right? And this is all around that level, okay, all around that daily pivot level. And this is a very important level. It was forming a green hammer. So if it closed with a green hammer there, then I would have gone long, right? I would have bought some calls, and I probably would have tracked the next level for my target. And so here we are at 29.08, so I probably would have done the 29.10s, right? That's your volumetric level. These light blue lines are volumetric. I calculate those from the SPY because the SPX doesn't show volume. And so so just to kind of show that if I had a green hammer here, I would have looked to have gone long, right? And then my stop would have been probably at the low of the bar, just below this daily pivot level, just to get an idea. Or I might have looked at the price of the option and see what the low of the day was at the time, and maybe made that the stop. But just to kind of gauge the price action. But the price action didn't warrant it, right? So here it was showing I'm kind of bearish, right? This is what this bar is saying. I'm kind of bearish over the daily pivot level. It's this 29.04, and so at that point it's like, okay, well, let me step away for a second. Do I want to short yet? Well, not yet. All right, the bar is formed. I would definitely want to see a break of the bar to see some continuation, right? Well, we didn't get that, right? It moved over and then went green again and pushed above, gave you a belt hold bar right there. Okay, so far so good. And belt hold bars, like we saw, these are bullish, but again, we've got a break above it, right? So here there was no break above it again here. So what we're starting to see now is 1, 2, 3, 4 upper shadows, right? All taking place over the daily pivot, okay, or right around it, right? So this is now showing resistance. It is showing weakness. And finally, this bar right here is once we break these 1, 2, 3 levels right here, then we can look to short. So this is your potential entry to get some puts, right? And so at that, you look at which puts do you get. Well, if you're gonna, we're early enough in the day where theta is not going to be too painful. Well, what we could do is look at the different levels. Well, is it going to test yesterday's close after breaking this? Probably, right? Probably. That's a good next level, and that was around 2,900. So at this point, we look at the 2,900 puts. Okay, so if we did that, let me just show you. We got a SPXW. And we'll look at those. So that was at about, I remember it was like 950, yeah. So 950, and then we were at 1904, we were 18. So if we looked at just those days, we looked at the puts, and we looked at the 2900s, we'll plug that there. So I'm going to show you the option chart right now. So this is what the option chart looked like at the time. Oh, look at that. Perfect. And look at that. And it's not that bad either. So as it was breaking, right, you could even use the option chart to trade off. But it was an inside bar right here. You could have taken the break of that. So about let's say you got it at 320. Okay, your stop would have been the low of the day, which probably wasn't that bad, right? It was, and I remember this. I was trying to, I was working on this. So 240 would have been the stop. So say even 235 or whatever you're allowed to trade that day. Sometimes they allow 5-cent increments. Sometimes they just do the whole numbers. But just say 230 was your stop. So you have a 1-point risk really. So 320 to 230. So not bad, right? And if it stopped you out, then you lose a point, right? But look what happened, right? So it went from 320, and then as it was going to its next target, and this is why this is why these levels are important, because we pick these puts as a potential trading area, right? And so we break that 320, boom, look at that, in 5-10 minutes, it had already gotten as high as $7, right? More than a double on those options within 10 minutes, just by looking at price action, and of course, if you held it, further, there's a bear flag that was on the chart, $9, so a 3x trade right there on a choppy day. So let me go back to the SPX here. And that's why reading these levels and reading your price action, reading your bars is so important, right? So just knowing what a bar is or its title and all that stuff is great, but you need to be able to combine it, right? So then we had this big push here. It cleared that level. That was where we hit the double on it, right? And then it pushed it even further. Well, this is the double right here. It pushed to the weekly pivot level. This is a great next target. So now we look and see if it makes sense. Obviously we would take profit at that point, But here I even tweeted out in the private Twitter stream, guys, look, we're getting a bear flag right here over the weekly pivot, right? And so at this point, right, we're holding this bear flag, and then look what we get. These are just 3 essentially doji bars in a row, right, over this weekly pivot level. So is it strong? No. Is it weak? Well, it's been weak, and we're trending down, right? So we have this trend line here to the downside. We're still going down, right? There's no reason to, at this point to be like, okay, let me stop everything until we get, some other signals, right? And so if that bear flag there breaks, first target yesterday low, but if you're still in the 2900s, you're good. If not, you could look at the 2895s, right? And then let's just look at that real quick before we go on to just kind of running through the rest of the chart real quick. But here, let's look at the 2895s. So the 2895s, if you were there at that time, so let's say we entered here on that break of the bear flag at 1015. So you have .spx, W, and then you have 190418, and then puts, and we'll go to 2895s. Okay, and what time was that again? That was 10:15. So let's just see how it did from 10:15 to 10:20 to see how much it could have made in 5 minutes. Okay, and then I'll just run through some basics that y'all can look at later if you have questions and all that stuff. So 10:15, 2895s. Okay, so on that break at 10:15, oh really? 0418P 2895. Okay, let's try that again. Sorry, like I said, my computer's a little bit jumpy tonight. So, but don't worry, we're going to be upgrading soon. So I want all my subscribers to have like the best experience. So here we are, 10:15. This is it, right? Another inside bar on the option chart. Okay. You can even see the 5MA is already golden crossed here over the 10MA. So just little things like that is saying like, hey, this is okay to try. So even if you caught, here in the middle of doji, it was 340, about $3.40. Even that next 5 minutes, right, on that bear flag break to the downside, look at this, boom, all the way up to 483. So over almost $1.50 made just in 5 minutes, right? And then if you held a little bit longer for that little bit push to the downside on that hammer on the daily, 586, so almost a double there, just in a short amount of time. So this is the stuff that we look at intraday, in the private Twitter feed, and this is stuff that I just want you guys to know, as option traders, and then if you're trading the SPX. Now remember, the SPX is fast, so if you don't know what you're doing, right, it can be really dangerous, right? You get stopped out all the time and it hurts, but this is why it helps to learn this stuff and get really good at it. So just knowing the candlesticks is a start, but then being able to apply those to different tools, and we'll talk about trend lines and all this stuff more going on. But just so you can see here, you had this hammer bar, got through the yesterday's low, boom, rejected S1 support 1 level. That was a good long opportunity there, right? Then it pulled back at the cloud, right? Look what it did here. It gave you a nice doji bar at the prior day's low and the weekly pivot, right? So it was also a wedge break, trend line break to the upside. So this is another great move to the upside. Hung out here at the daily pivot level, and then it was just pretty choppy for the rest of a Thursday. There were a couple opportunities, for some lotto trades where maybe something 10 cents might have gone to 20 cents, but I don't really like to trade that stuff. I like to get these $2 moves that go to $10, right? So and in fact, let me show you that one real quick. So if we took it here at 1040, and let's just say our next target was the weekly pivot, let's just say 2900. So at 1040, if we took the 2900 calls, let's see what they would have been at by 1245. So basically 2 hours worth of work right here. So just if you held through this nonsense here too, I know it's scary, but let's say the 2900s at 1040, and we'll do that, and then we'll move on to some chart requests. So we got that W 1904, and then we'll look at 18, and then calls, and then we'll look at just the 2900s, and from 1040 to 1245. Let's see what those look like. Okay, so here's our option charts. I think you can see that they were probably pretty good. So if you caught that tail, or if you caught that hammer at that level at, 1040. So somewhere in here, let's say you caught that they were $1.75, and if you held them to 1245, which is 2 hours worth of work, so $1.45 to $7. So almost, so just now, like I said, that pullback was nasty, right? And if you got it here, just as good, right? $2, but you never would have been stopped out if you kept your low at 145. But if you got in there at, like, let's just say you got in at $2, it went all the way up to by 1240, almost $8, right? So a 4x trade, great stuff on a choppy day, right? And that is the key of using levels, and that is the key of using your price action to become a better and more successful trader. And so that's why I do the private tweet, the private feed, and we have the newsletter and all that stuff. So if you subscribe to that, you get to see, the trades I take intraday that I see that look interesting, and that, hopefully you can learn from and get profitable, right? That's the game. So that's the name of the game. So anyway, hope you guys found that helpful. At this point, if anybody has any chart requests or questions, feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we'll get through those as soon as we can, ideally before 10 o'clock, because hey, we got to get some rest before the big trading week this week. So lots of earnings and lots of fun stuff happening. So good stuff. Hey again, Raphael, good to see you, man. Harvey, what's up? I hope you had a great Easter. Great weekend, blessed weekend, and everything. So Nudie Poo, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's take a look at APHA, APHA, APHA. Okay, so let me just give me 1 second. This is one of those cannabis stocks, right? Wellness stocks. Let me see. Sorry, everything's going slow on my screen here. Is it not going to give a company profile? Yeah, it looks legit, right? Let's see. So hold on. Look at that. All right. Well, let's go. It doesn't. We just look at the technical side. Is this the one that didn't Citron come out and say something about this the other day? Let me see. Yeah, cannabis stock. I thought Citron came out and said something the other day that caused it some issues, but I guess it had bad earnings, right? So I guess the hype is over, right? If we look at the daily, we can kind of see what happened here. This is pretty cool. So right, it kind of pushed up a little bit into earnings, right, which is a nice little tricky thing that market makers like to do, and it got it over $10, which is a great place for institutions to get involved, because they're usually able to trade over that. And if they shorted there, right, they would have been made billions right the next day. So, but anyway, gap down, gave you a shooting star. Right, continuation down. Inside bar, this is almost a gravestone doji right here, and then boom, gap down, to the downside. And look what it did. It pushed through the daily cloud right here, and then tried to get to start up a little. This thing likes to gap, doesn't it? But try to the downside. And look at this. This is a belt hold bar. Bearish belt hold bar, which is very negative, right? So if you go through those flashcards, right, you'll see that. So this is a lot of candlesticks at work here, and that break through the cloud to the downside looks like it still could be bearish on that. So we'll leave it at that on that one. So Shirley, welcome back. How's it going? You've been gone for so long. Good to have you back. We were all saying, because Disney was on your long list the other day, that it spiked so much, right? If you went through any of the old videos, you could see us talking about it and everything. I mean, some people did really, really well on that, especially with options, and I think some people had 20x trades or something like that. It was ridiculous. And so we were just saying that you took a vacation to Disney World. So welcome back. It's good to have you back. Raphael, so let's look at ATVI. So ATVI, I was exploring this one this weekend, and it is just a little bit too complex for me right now. So I'm kind of hands off. I do like this bottoming tail right here. You have a spinning top continuation, but you're still kind of in this daily cloud. And yeah, if it does break out of this, it could get some movement, but it still has a lot of resistance above it. And let me show you what it looks like here on the on our chart here. So it is kind of forming a cup and handle, so there is some potential here. It does have earnings in May. This is one of those ones that could break out, and if earnings come out good, this thing is going to squeeze a lot of shorts, and then it's got a gap to fill right here. So it is looking interesting. It is this is very much a cup and handle, so it's coming from the downside, curling, coming back down, and then it is looking pretty good. So potential. Of course, I wouldn't trade it into earnings, but you might get a little bit of an earnings run there. It's possible. There's a lot of news coming out with it, with its different games that it's coming out with online. Was it Anthem and things like that. So we'll see if that gets any further upside. But it is into a congestion zone right here. So if it does not break out, right, it could continue, the congestion, or it could just use this as resistance and then find some more downside. So PFE, these healthcare stocks have just been getting demolished. PFA is looking pretty interesting of a lot of the Dow ones. So it was holding into this pitchfork range, but let me show you what I like about it here. Let's go to the weekly. So your weekly Keltner on this has been generally in an uptrend, but it did tag the lower weekly, right? And it came back in at the cloud here. So see if it holds these levels, like these 40 levels. Now it does have earnings, of course, coming up pretty soon in like a week or so. But in general, this seems to be holding up better than in some of its counterparts like Merck, Walgreens, although it's not a manufacturer, is a seller of pharmaceuticals. But so look at how it behaves in this cloud. This is definitely one to keep on your watch list for sure. W, I'm glad you brought that one up. That has been interesting. Okay, so W I'm actually really liking here. It is into, right, so we have this kind of zone right here, this general, it's kind of long-term kind of cup and handle. You can see the pitchfork right here. If this turns into an inverted hammer and we break this tail to the upside, right? So if we get back into the upper end of the pitchfork, so that's a break of, let's say, 151, right? Then we'll look to see if it can break out, because I do like it. It is a pennant type style, following up this pitchfork here. So if just draw like a pennant line right here to there, and just watch to see if this, can break out of this zone. If it does, then we could definitely get back to that midpoint area around like 175, I would imagine. So it does have earnings coming up too. So in May, but I am liking this setup here. I'm liking the way how constructive it's looking. So that's what we like. We like pullbacks, constructive, and then back up, and is still holding levels pretty well. And then Tesla, of course. Tesla's got earnings could I forget? Yeah, Tesla's got earnings this week as well. It is holding volumetric levels, right? This is a level, this is a level, this is a level, this is a level, this is a level. So you got a nice hammer here off of an inside day. So this is a key reversal bar that could push again to the upside. So this is coming up very, very soon, so the 24th. So look to see, is that... And it would be, Tesla's always fun to watch aftermarket on its earnings, because sometimes it just goes like 50, 60 points, on when it has bad earnings, right? So, to predict an earnings is really tough to do. I'm sure they'll have something up their sleeve, as long as Elon's still there. You have your 200-day moving average right here, so this is a crazy area, but earnings I think are going to really change things up a little bit, which will be fun because you'll get a volatility drop in the options and it'll be easier to trade. Chris, no problem, man. Yeah, my pleasure. It's a great place. I'm glad you made it. Trading Learning, what's going on? 700. I know. Yeah, this is finally Trading Learning. We're gonna get some movement, so that's good stuff. Call Saul, happy Easter, man. Look at Apple and GIS. Yep, my pleasure. So Apple. Dun, dun, dun. Oh man, Apple is looking good. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it is. It's following up this fib arc really well. It's look at that. It had the it took the what I like to call the tail fail of this shooting star pattern, or even an inverted hammer pattern. We don't call it a shooting star. It's fine. It can be green. And so you break that to the upside, and there you've got a breakthrough of that as well. So there may be some momentum follow through on that to the upside. It doesn't have earnings for another business week, so it may just continue to push. And if it does and it consolidates, and look at that, right at earnings, it could be right up here at the cloud. Key area, right? So again, it loves this arc, so it's still following that up. I think if it does, it could get up to 228. But again, be careful if you're holding into earnings. If you have like 10 calls or something like that, I would I try to only carry freebies into earnings, right? So if I've been long here, since kind of like this area or something like that, and this is the weekly, but if you're long and you're holding into this, right, you want to only have your freebies that go into there. So, but on your daily chart, it is looking, obviously just as good, because that's what creates the weekly chart. But I like this move up here. This could be a measured move potential, right? So you could have this this push here, sideways, then another push up, right? So at that point, you're reaching some pitchfork levels and all that stuff, and that would be probably a great place to trim profits instead of add. So, but there's your level right there that it broke. So that was a scary bar right there, but broke it all here these last couple of days. So, so that's looking good. And then GIS. Look, futures are already starting to come up. They'll probably be green again the more. You just never know with this. So GIS is an interesting one. General Mills, this is one of those, kind of Yeah, well, I mean, it's had some pretty big days, but had big earnings last time. Next earnings not for a while, so I do like this kind of gap and go. This is we're looking at Wayfair a little bit ago. I mean, this is what you like to see on these strong movers, right? So you have that move to the upside, break, and then look at that. So from here, that was like 50, got all the way up to like 52, and on these, it's a slower mover, but still looking pretty constructive. So I mean, this is like a good zone right here. This for support, like this 51, right? You don't want it to go much under 51, but it could still move. It's starting to compress a little bit. The Bollinger Bands are starting to come in. So if the Bollinger Bands get inside that Keltner channel, you got a squeeze going on, right? One of those TTM squeezes. And if it does break to the upside, it could get some more momentum. But I do like how it's kind of really just trending right now to the upside. So good stuff there. I think let's just look and see how it looks volumetrically. It's probably here. So there you go. Right, that was your break. Right, that's your level. That's your 51 level. And then your next kind of hopeful area is that 55, 56 type area. Let me see what we've got in terms of arcs, if I can get one. Wow, it really did come down a lot since those highs. But let's see if we can get a fib arc in there. So we have this to this. There. So just be careful right here, some resistance, but if you can get above that, let's say it gets above it a little bit, pulls back, and then there's your opportunity to try to hit that volumetric high, which also corresponds with a fib fan level. Did I call it an arc? It's a fib fan. Sorry, getting late. But anyway, good stuff. APA garbage, that's right. So yeah, so definitely shortable. It looks like those institutions took the advantage of it getting over 10 there. NetPry, what's going on? Good to see you, man. Any luck in KO? Yeah, so KO is... right, we saw it move recently here. Like that was a big move in KO. Pull back, then a gap down, right? Now it's got earnings coming up again, right? So this is very soon. So this is like, when is it? Is it after hours? Before the market on, so basically, into, what is that, Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday morning. So we'll see. We'll see if it holds. If we can get above that 47.83, it could push back up and start filling this gap. If not, it'll work its way back down again. So that's Coke for you. I just can't trade that one. It's so hard for me. Amazon, yeah, that's a good one to look at. Sorry for all the mess here, but it does help. A couple of these levels were key because they were an inside week, a prior inside week. If we kind of go back here on the weekly, that's a 5-day. Let me show you. So your weekly. Right, we flagged this. That was your inside week level right there. It broke to the upside strong, and it's just been following through quite nicely. Look here, you can kind of see just here on the daily that we had a bull flag here, broke to the upside. Maybe we're working on a bull flag here. So just look for, if the futures are down and all that stuff, it does have earnings this week, so that's the one thing. But if it works on this bull flag down, it could break and then finally do its thing and work its way back to its all-time highs. So that is something interesting there as well. No problem, NetFry, my pleasure. Shirley, welcome back. Okay, let's see. You want to catch up on weeks of stuff, so let's go through. I'm going to just pick like 5 of these, if that's okay with you, and just kind of go through those. But I'm really glad you're back, and I hope you're doing well, and I hope you had fun in Disney World. So let's see. So COF, let's take a look. But Shirley, I'm going to go through. We're going to take a look at all these on there. Monthly. Okay, so monthly. We had an double inside month here. It started to break to the upside, and it is moving, so that is good. And with the financials looking good, we have a chance here. I like the inside bar. A lot of inside week. A lot of financials give us an inside week, so a break there to the upside could continue to push. It's facing its 50 EMA on the weekly, and here it is just dealing with this 200 moving average right now. Okay, so if it can get above that, then I think your levels are starting to look okay. But again, it's over volumetric levels and it's starting to make its moves, right? Nice cup and handle, right up, cup, handle, break, right? So far so good. And it looks like it is putting in, a couple inside days or really, really close to inside days there. So that's good. Let's look at KBH. Okay. Yeah, very similar, type style setup. Goodness, that is so looking like a channel. Okay, so let's just go with that right now. So ignoring the high. Okay, so it was working its way in this channel, kind of broke itself out, came back, retest, and then up. So at this point, let's draw a fib fan. here to here. Just be careful of these levels right here. So another break, pull back, and then you might get another, some more upside movement on that. So that's looking good. Let's go to, I'm not going to do Siri, but that is an interesting penny stock. Let's go to, we'll do CAG, Netflix, and MU. So CAG. If anyone watches Battlestar Galactica, it's the CAG. But yeah, so let's see. So here we go. So highs, Conagra Foods. Good. I like how it's broken through here. It might pull back a little bit to your fib fan line and then back up. You got a volumetric level there at 32.76, and then a break of there is looking at some potential pivot breaks there. So I do like that. To the upside, Netflix. Well, this is a good one. I really like this one too. This has got a lot of potential. It held up through the Disney competitive news. It held up through earnings. It had some crazy earnings, and now we have an inside day here and then into the channel. So if we can break to the upside, it could get some more movement. Like you said, 373, maybe pull back a little bit, and then another push. It has an open gap there at I think it was like 391 and some change or something like that. So it might want to work its way back up this kind of channel range right here. So options should be getting a little bit better on it too. So keep an eye on that. And then finally, let's take a look at MU, everybody's favorite stock to short. If it ever goes, goes to the downside. Oh, where do we go? So this one we looked at not too long ago, a couple months ago. Look at that channel down, y'all. I mean, just incredible movement right there. And then it broke, right? And so then we look at our Fibonacci levels, which we have here. It's been kind of hanging out between the 23.6 and the 50% retracement. So it's got to get above, surely, it's got to get above 45. Right, to really get to really start filling some gaps again and working its way back up. So I like that it is it's gotten through earnings and it's kind of doing its thing right now. So just kind of like a little bit of a triangle type thing going on here. So some compression. So if it does break to the upside, it might get a little follow through there. If it comes to the downside, it might undershoot and then work again to the upside. It is a tough stock to trade, but when it's trending like this in a channel, you can trade it, right? So so now we just kind of have to see what's going on with that. Let's see if it's doing an up channel right now, just to kind of see. We can use this as a point of reference too in the future. So if it is working, right, if it does come to the downside and undershoot, like I said, it might retest that 38.2, which is the bottom of the channel, and then start working its way up there. Ideally, that would fill that gap too and get to the 61.8 retrace. So so very good stuff there. So Session 07, what's going on? CRM. Anyway, great to have you back, Shirley. Bear Kid, what's up? All right, so CRM. Happy Easter, man. Let's see. So CRM has been very interesting. It was we're looking at this as a potential triangle, right? I think it's doing the undershoot thing right now. So CRM's a tricky little stock to trade, right? But undershoot here, and then if it does get back through these levels, this 158 level, I think it could push, right, 165, and then take out those levels too. CRM is a very difficult stock to trade. It does like to move counterintuitively, so just keep that in mind. It did two pivots here, basically double top at the upper pitchfork, and it's still not breaking down yet. So if it does get there, I don't think it would do a triple top. I think it would push through those and give a little more movement. That would be my opinion on that. So I think let's look at the candlesticks too. Hold on. I think we had do we have an inside week? Yeah, we did an inside week the prior week. Came back in, right? So it failed to break that. So that does give some potential. What I do like here on this cloud is we have this bottoming tail right here. So if it can get back, here's the middle. You can see the triangle. There's your top of the triangle, bottom of the triangle. If it can get through there, right? That's your cloud break, right? So if it can get back through there, it could pop. It could really move, I think, to that 165 level. So just keep that in mind. So it's looking pretty interesting. So yeah, man, everything's good. Well, I hope everybody again, had a good video session here, and really appreciate everybody jumping in, and appreciate everybody's support. A special thank you to all new subscribers to the newsletter, and jumping into the private Twitter. We're having a lot of fun there, and it looks like it's gonna be a cool week. So there's gonna be a lot of 15 orbs to trade this week after earnings, after the IV crush, which should make it a little bit more fun with the options, and it should be good. So appreciate everybody. Have a good night. Welcome back, Shirley, and my pleasure, guys. And have an awesome one. And I'll talk to you soon. Remember your risk first when you're trading, right? And then be safe so you can stay in the game. And I'll talk to you guys later.